Gotta start off by saying with this one that my grandfather is experiencing dementia currently, and my grandma on my other side of the family has been experiencing dementia for many years. Wow, this film is scary good and scary accurate about dealing with that. I watched it in theaters, and then my wife and I rented it tonight. But the first time watching it in theaters, I cried a little because Anthony Hopkins was just playing a British version of my grandfather. So, yeah, anyway. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Film Fireside. The Father was directed by Florian Zeller and written by Florian Zeller and is based off of a play that he wrote as well. It is a story about a older man experiencing dementia who is played by Anthony Hopkins, and it's basically a perception of his world through the eyes of one who has dementia. I think the phrase I thought of to describe this film is beautifully frustrating, or maybe even intentionally frustrating, as it's not all beautiful, you know? The frustration is very real. This film is very conceptual. It's laced with a lot of subtext and subtleties as well that really serve the film in gorgeous, gorgeous ways. While this film, for me, is it means a lot and was extremely helpful for me to maybe kind of process some things I've been dealing with. My grandfather at this current time, I could see this film not being for everyone. There's potential to kind of miss the point of this movie. I think so anyway. This is just based on the experience I had seeing it in theaters. Let me just tell you. Obviously, we're living in times of coronavirus. People are still being careful, and so not many tickets are being sold at full capacity in these movie theaters I'm in. A lot of the movies that are smaller movies, I literally feel like sometimes they sell barely 2 seats per row. They're very much limiting the quantity of seats being sold and the capacity of their theaters. So this film was playing in one of the smaller theaters of this movie theater I go to, where the theater is only like 3 rows big. So I got a seat all the way in the back of the third row. And these 2 women had seats in like the front part of the middle section. And it was just us in the theater. Honestly, I don't know if they would have sold more if they could. Throughout the movie, they began laughing at times where I was like, ugh, I've seen or heard both or one of my grandparents say that. And they would laugh at it. And in hindsight, forgetfulness issues, if they're maybe done in the way the character Dory is from Finding Nemo, yeah, they could be funny. And it was interesting to me to see them perceive him forgetting things or misunderstanding things as comedic sometimes. And perhaps there are moments that could be comedic still, like even objectively comedic. Now, to give these ladies credit, they're not like, there are some obviously serious moments in this film. They weren't like laughing through those. So if you're thinking they're laughing at some like crazy serious moments, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking like definitely within the first act. It could be a little more comedic when he's, a little more forgetful. And at the very end of the movie, as the credits were playing, they both stood up and were just talking very loudly. There's these 2 sweet old ladies who were they were adorable. They really were. But it was just interesting to hear them talk and about the film. And they were talking about it kind of as if it was like a Sixth Sense twist, or like, whoa, boy, that was just such a weird film. Oh, that poor man, such a weird thing. Oh my goodness, it's just so crazy. Well, I'll be golly gee. It was just clear to me that they haven't had anyone in their life who has experienced this, So it was just interesting to me. It made me go, maybe others will perceive this film differently. That's just an interesting thought to me. Honestly, I don't really have an answer for that. I'm just going to put that out there. So go ahead and comment if you feel like maybe you've perceived the same thing, or perhaps you watched this film and since you don't have anyone with dementia in your life, you didn't get it, or you didn't, maybe not didn't get it sounds harsh. You didn't maybe connect with the film as much as maybe you feel like you could have or wanted to. I don't know. It's a theory I have, so comment below. I think just objectively speaking about this film too, regardless of whether you've had personal experiences with dementia or not, this film is crafted gorgeously. Just, it's complicated, and that's part of the frustrating element of it, and it's intended to be that way. It's extremely specific and particular about the production design, which is nominated, by the way. We'll get into that in another video. Every shot, every camera angle. Just the script too and the structure of everything is just so well crafted and very, very genius. I'm not gonna lie, it requires 2 viewings. The first time I watched it, it took me a little while to kind of catch up with what was happening. Watching it a second time, I was able to kind of put my head around a few of the things that were happening right before my eyes that I didn't really notice. Which again is part of the brilliance of it as well. If the goal of the film was to get us to understand, or at least maybe have some empathy or appreciation for people experiencing dementia and what that's like, I think this film accomplishes that tenfold. I really appreciate this film for that reason. My score of this film, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Wow! I'm kind of talking about this a little earlier because I have some more thoughts still, but I'm saying that now because it has to do with the first thing I've been saying, which is that this film is very frustrating. I would give this a perfect score because of how much it related to things I've been experiencing and how truthful it is and well crafted it is when it comes to telling a story about dementia. It's very, very good in that sense. I just think what's keeping it from that is the fact that I wouldn't want to just casually sit down and watch this film. I'd have to emotionally prepare myself to get into this film. And it's not even like all that heavy of a movie either. It's just heavy in the sense that it's very real. And sometimes maybe too real for comfort, which is great. I don't knock this film at all. I think this is a matter of for me to give a film a 10 out of 10, it has to mean that I definitely favor it and I enjoy it and I think it's perfectly crafted and that I am down to watch it at any time, no matter what. I can't say that about this movie because it's just so. Many other elements of this that are just done so brilliantly. Anthony Hopkins, I mentioned at the beginning of my review how he's literally a British version of my grandfather. If you've had experiences with dementia, there's some things that I thought were like my grandpa specific quirks that after watching this movie make me go, because he's literally so much like my grandfather. It makes me wonder if these are a lot of quirks that develop because of dementia. I don't know. Comment if you were wondering that as well. Anthony Hopkins' performance is probably one of the best performances I've seen in a long time. To support that performance, of course, is the wonderful Olivia Colman. I really love her. I think she's so wonderful and so talented. She just seems just like this wonderful human being, and my heart just swells anytime I see her on the screen. For the sake of I just love Olivia Colman, and second, she is so heartbreaking in this film. If I may ask a favor of you who watch this, my channel's not big enough yet to be like, sharing it with the world. Honestly, if I had more of a following, I may not have shared that stuff about my grandfather. So I would just ask you to be kind with that information if you watch this video. I guess I don't really see a scenario where someone could be mean with that information, but I would just ask you to be maybe socially aware and kind with that information, if you would. Because it's not fun. It's not a fun thing to deal with. And it's growing more difficult to talk about, honestly, because there's just a lot to process with it. And I feel like I still am. So I guess that's why I'm asking you to be kind, there's a lot about things with my family that I'm processing still when it comes to dementia. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching this video. Comment your thoughts on The Father. What are your thoughts on The Father? Tell me your experiences with this film. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the movie and get in a discussion with you in the comments. I might change my score. Okay, I just heard a rebuttal to my whole scoring argument in my head, and I'm going to go ahead and change my score. I'm going to give this film a 10 out of 10. I think to be worthy of that title too, sometimes a film needs to hold a certain reverence. I think maybe that's a better way I feel about this film. While that frustrating element is there and I wouldn't be willing to just watch this in any given moment, I think maybe that could also be due to the fact that I feel reverent toward this movie. There are movies that I give 10 out of 10. Some I watch frequently, and others I save for special times in my life when maybe I need the movie. So I give The Father a 10 out of 10. Thank you for indulging me and following me with that. Hopefully my editing can make sense of all that I just did, that the path my brain went on just there. Please make sure you're subscribed to this channel so that you do not miss out on any Oscar-related content that will be coming your way via this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Bye-bye.